Good times, everyone. This is your naturally born hated Virgo speaking. And I noticed when I looked at the title of my stream, I forgot to talk a little bit more about VRchat. And also, Raider Sound, thank you so much for the hearts. Appreciate it. Much love to you, too. I, pretty much use the examples of Foxy Paul's and, of course, Poppy First as an example of that. But I'm going to need a little bit more time when it comes to this particular topic because it's a lot. Because we're not only because we already talked about those two, right? We already talked about the two things, and of course the example. But I want to talk about trolls. I want to talk about you know, the ecosystem, how VR chat works. The type of people that I deal with. So that is going to take a little bit longer. So, but I think I will be able to talk to you all just a bit about this. Um, just give me a moment. I need to let the dog out. All right, I gotta make this quick because I gotta be there for swap for someone that is really, really genuine, down to earth individual whose music and channel you should check out. Okay. Imagine VR chat like Roblox. Okay, I'm gonna break this down as simply as I know how, because again, I'm gonna need more time to put all this together. Imagine an app where you can literally do whatever you want. Imagine an app where all you have to do is simply just nothing. You log in, you put in whatever age you want, bam, you're in. And imagine being 10 years old. Now, can you imagine this? Are you visualizing this? Imagine all of this. And you get exposed to everything. And you're only 10 years old. That is VRchat, an incompetent app that could give a fuck less about someone's safety. That's why so many people hate it so much. But when you think about it, it's also one of those apps that make you wonder, how did this come to be? Why? Why, oh, why is there so much 18 plus content on here? How do we go from being about memes to being about that? Why all of a sudden we have ads and sponsors? Why are we dealing with microtransactions? Why is the app still in beta? Why is it when I go on YouTube, when I type in VR chat, the app is being talked about like it is worse than Roblox itself? Why are we dealing with so many pedophiles? Where's the child safety options? Why are there so many bullies and instigators on the app now? Why are people lying about their disabilities? Why are there so many popular people on the app? So many broken worlds. When you ask yourself these questions, it makes you wonder how incompetent the creator and their team truly are to create something this big and not think about this. Same with Roblox. You're telling me that the creator of Roblox, same with VRChat, didn't foresee all of this coming? I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure they did. Now, let's just go ahead and just talk a little bit more about child safety, because that's what our government really cares about. Oh, child safety. We gotta keep the kids safe. And it's bigger than the solution of get parents involved. You see, no matter what people truly do, it won't stop the youth from getting exposed to whatever they want. My favorite example is Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I remember when I was on the website, I was like, I went to the website, they asked for my age. I'm not gonna lie, I put in some fake random date. I got in, and I was able to see all that blood and gore. See, child safety has been an issue for a while, but the question is, why is it still a problem? Because everyone seems to make a big deal about it, but with all of this cybersecurity and with even more enhanced ways to pretty much block content, why is it still a problem? See, that's what people need to start asking themselves. If we have all this technology, all these different memes to block content, all of this, Why is it still a problem? Is it incompetence? Is it the fact that the companies only see, these kids as just money? Are they lying about child? Like, you got to really ask yourselves on who is working on these games. And how often are these game companies, these entertainment companies, being investigated? See, no one wants to think this far down because, oh, well, it will, infringe on my rights and whatnot. Well, if the parents stepped up and did their job, we wouldn't be in this situation now, would we? So many people come on VRchat and they say the same thing. There's too many weirdos. There's too many pedophiles. There's too many this. And one has to ask, how often have the people, the community complained about this? But yet this 11-year-old app barely hits worldwide news. But Roblox does. And I think a bigger question is, why is it? And I mean this with every fiber in my brain. Why is it that Roblox was the one that was attacked first? Especially with all of these videos on VRchat. Why is it that Roblox was the one that was attacked first? Because Roblox is the most popular of them all because of its games. That's why. Because of its games. I just gave you the answer right there. That's why. Because of the fact that, people can't afford AAA games anymore, so let's just, you know, make these bootleg games that resemble AAA in a way. And there we go. Problem solved. And they have been doing this for a while. And then we got VRchat. Same thing. Just different concept. Child safety can literally be remedied if the community, not just the parents, step up the game. Because all this 18 plus verified, all this blah, 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 all this, here's a group, and you got to follow the rules. You really expect a 5-year-old, an American 5-year-old, to know how to read properly? When parents don't even give a damn about what their kids do, you know, in secret. So to say stuff like they didn't read the rules is ignorant. It honestly is. Well, they should have read the rules. Unfortunately, we live in a world where even adults that are 18 and 17, sorry, not 17, my apologies, that's a teenager, 18 and 19, who don't even know how to read. Let me say this one more time with fury in my voice. 18 to 19-year-olds who don't know how to read. Look it up. The numbers are growing. 18, 19-year-olds don't know how to read. It's a shame. Oh, they can work out. Oh, they can talk all this smack. Spam their soundboards. Can't even read to save their life. Don't even have a high school diploma. So then we have the same thing with the kids. Can't read. Do we blame the schools? Do we blame the parents? Do we blame? We don't know. But it is a problem. A problem that the creator of the app needs to get out of hiatus and literally be like, you know what? I need to. It doesn't matter what's on me. I need to get out here and I need to say something because it's getting bad. It's getting bad. I need to say something. I need to talk to the community, let them know that, hey, I'm still around. I still care. Or, I mean, you could be a coward. That's fine. You can do that too. I mean, that seems to be the popular norm these days. Just be a coward. The issue is that there's no true leadership anymore. And you can't keep relying on everyone else to do it. Because what's at top trickles down. If there was a strong leader in VRchat and a strong leader in Roblox, you wouldn't be hearing nothing about lawsuits and stuff like that. You'll be hearing about people who were incompetent getting fired and replaced with someone who actually respects and understands the rules, understands about human integrity and child safety. It's easy to say children shouldn't be on the apps. I agree. But you're dealing with a hard headed generation that can't even read and comprehend properly. So, how do you expect kids, right, to understand that? You think scaring them off and telling them a bunch of inappropriate, nonsense is gonna. No, because they can't even comprehend what you're saying because no one's teaching them. They're only see in these schools these days. They're teaching them so much to the point where that's all they need. We'll make them to good little boys and girls. Oh, they want to play the LGBTQ game? Okay, we'll let them be a truck driver. Like we'll say their gender is truck driver or pizza dog. And we got our own little minions that we can control to buy, consume, and to, rinse and repeat. Because now we deal with a generation that doesn't think anymore. So now we got them. Do you know how scary that is? Child safety has been an issue online for a while. And the truth of the reality is, people already have methods, effective methods, that they could have implemented, but they didn't do it because then that would mean less money. So they risk child safety for several $1 million. See, this is the type of stuff that needs to be studied. It's bigger than just pedophiles. It's bigger than just Epstein. It's bigger than all of that. Think about what I just said. It's bigger than that. First off, you have to ask yourself, what is child safety to you? Is it censorship? Is it segregation? What is your definition of child safety? If you can't even comprehend that, then you need to shut the fuck up about, oh, kids shouldn't be, here, here, and there, because that's not the problem. The problem is the fact that there is a lack of comprehension and understanding of the rules, which is endangering the children. Which is, the fact of, hey, they shouldn't be in these types of worlds. Hey, they shouldn't be here. There's no parent, and the companies don't give a fuck, and you constantly keep telling them ain't gonna matter. So where else? What else is there for them? So they rely on pieces of shit like proximity chat, who makes these apps look terrible, missing the whole point of what VRchat stands for. Oh, that's right. It stands for nothing, which is why people like proximity chat can get away with it. And I'm calling proximity chat a piece of shit because he doesn't care and he knows what he's doing. We're talking about someone who's been doing this for a while. He's a terrible person. He's someone who once did things, you know, in the right, but he got caught up and he started to forget about child safety. Oh, you don't think this motherfucker doesn't harass kids? But yet, he's the savior. And see, that's when I have to start calling people like that a piece of shit. When you make fun of mental, disabled individuals and whatnot, you are a piece of shit in my book. There's no being nice about this. He knows what he's doing. The people who claim to be pedal hunters on Roblox do everything that they can to defame the app. And that's why they got banned. It had nothing to do with the whole, oh, they banned me because I tried to expose pedophiles. No, motherfucker, they banned you because you defamed their app. Get it right. Now, I will admit, there's probably a lot going on in that app, but don't make it seem like that, oh, they're just picking on me because they're doing it to you, they're doing it to everyone else. I just had to get that off my chest. But the lack of comprehension, the lack of teaching of the youth is the reason why we are still dealing with issues with child safety. It's a problem. Hey, Raider, it's a problem. So before we can even dive into that, you have to first ask yourself, what is child safety? How far do you have to go to prove one? Because then here's the thing. Let's just say you get rid of all the kids on social media. Awesome. Hooray. We win. We got it. Now you got a bigger problem. Childish adults. When you go into 18 plus instances, you will be amazed at how many childish adults there are. It's a problem. It's not like, oh, they're just being a little immature, just having fun, chilling. We're talking about to the point where they're being so annoying, where they're actually violating people's personal space, where they act as if they didn't take their medicine in 5 days. Those are the types of people. So now we have a bigger problem. Okay, you got rid of all the kids. Cool, cool. Didn't really solve anything, but cool. Now you got childish adults. And you know what they say about stupidity? Stupidity is pretty dangerous. The stupidity can destroy a nation and a society. Don't believe me? Type in stupidity. Stoicism or whatnot. Whole almost 30-minute video about how stupidity destroys a nation, destroys society, destroys, foundations, destroys countries, destroys, the balance of a state. That's what we're dealing with Roblox and whatnot. Stupidity disguised as intelligence. Now, proximity chat, I will say this to you. I admire the fact that what you're doing, you're making your money. But you still have to admit that you are a piece of shit. That's the first step of, having your ego inflated. We all done things that made us a piece of shit. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I done things where I ended up being like a piece of shit, I'll admit it. But at least I'm not afraid to admit it. Your little views and whatnot, you got kids looking up to you. I would say that you're an endangerment to child safety. You can't preach a good game and talk about, oh, I want to keep VRchat safe, but yet you're harassing kids, you're harassing teenagers, you're harassing the mentally ill. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, folks, what is your definition of child safety? Yep, I'm back to streaming again. Ask yourself that question before y'all want to talk about we want to pass this law and make people identify themselves via ID, blah, 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 blah. You telling me that the child lock systems, you know, on the internet is not effective? Like, how much more money government do we need to give you so you understand that it's a problem? Like, what is going on here? Oh, we care about child safety. We want to make sure that the children are safe. Haha, just pocketing the money. Oh, well, we truly care about child safety. We want to make sure all the kids are safe and. There is nothing that a person can truly do, and I'm witness to this because my mother tried her best to like shield me away from everything that was quote unquote evil, while also telling me the truth if I happen to be exposed to it. She already had a plan of when she was going to expose me to certain things, but due to my curiosity as a Virgo, I got exposed to it. And she would tell me something that was raw truth, and I thank her for it. Deal with it. I'll pray for you. Deal with it. You're too young for that. Deal with it. She told me that because she warned me first. If it's not for you, don't indulge. I don't care what your friends say, don't do it. It's not age appropriate. So I feel like instead of, you know, the Trump administration focusing on blah, 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 I think they should focus more on the kids because, they care about the kids. They're focused on abortion laws. They're focused on all of this nonsense. Why don't you focus on child safety, right? Children are the future, right? Whitney Houston, preached that. So, yeah, you see what I mean? Like, there is such a disconnect of focus that's why you have people like proximity chat and whatnot popping up. Don't know what to do with themselves, bored out of their mind to the point where they now have to harass kids. Young adults, those with mental illness, for their own entertainment. You tell me that doesn't sound like a piece of shit? You tell me that sounds like a sane human being? Thank you, Raider Sonic. I appreciate you. Yeah, I love our conversations on Google and whatnot. So here's my definition of child safety. It's the constant moderation while also offering a little freedom of children in a effective manner where it doesn't demean them, doesn't cause them to be stupefied or controlled, but puts them in an environment where they can make a choice, but they are in an environment where they will not be exposed to something that is meant for adults. Doesn't mean that they are excluded entirely, from having interactions with those that are a little bit older than them. But it will put them in a place where they can be safe and they know that if they have any issues, they at least have a parent or guardian that they can come to ask for help. Do you see how complicated that is? Folks say, oh, the issue is child safety. And it's bigger than that. Because once you take care of that, then you got to deal with immature adults. So then what happens when you get rid of the immature adults? Then you pretty much have nothing. So it's not just take the good with the bad. It's just And it's not just about educating people, it's just about you have to break it down. Again, because you're dealing with folks with pretty bad comprehension skills. You got to help them, you got to teach them. Seriously, ask yourself, why is it there's so many kids on VRchat? Why is it that there's so many kids on Roblox? Why is it there's so many certain adults on certain sites? The answer is bigger than you think. You think it's bigger than what a big streamer says because they got a million subscribers. They are only touching the surface because they don't even know. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. That's just part one of that. But yeah, before we go off on like VRchat and Roblox, we need to talk about who's truly responsible for child endangerment. That right there is what we need to discuss. Because you got to ask yourself, how many pedo hunters, how many of these types of people do you truly need, when at the end of the day all they're focusing on is money? Who's really being helpful around here? If you can answer that question, VRchat Roblox would be a better place. If you can't answer that question, then you're part of the problem.